Hello, folks. My name is Anthony Crane, and I am going to show you all about SAFe training today. There are 13 different training courses in the SAFe framework, and so it could be quite confusing which course you should take. I'm hoping to demystify that and give you guys an easy guide. So the ultimate guide to SAFe training, you'll decide if it's ultimate or not and let me know. But I'm trying to answer the question, what SAFe training should I take? So first off, here is scaledagileFramework.com, which is where the big picture lies. And if you want to know more about the big picture, I have another video. It's got over 17K views right now, which I'm very excited about. But you can go there to learn more about the big picture. For now, we're going to go into the SAFe training area. So you can see right across the top, it says SAFe training. And when you click on that, you get to a page that does not actually tell you what the courses are. It tells you kind of about training in general. You have to click this button down here to see the actual list. So I'll click this button now. It'll open up that secondary page. Now, I don't remember this being here before, but it's kind of cool. What is your role? What are your goals? What are you in? What kind of business? And what is your organization doing SAFe now or not? You select these, you say which course is right for you, and then it narrows down the list of 13. But I played with it, and some of the recommendations I found a little interesting. So whatever, I'm still going to do my guide. So on this page, then you can see there are 13 different courses. Each one has a brief description. Note they don't tell you how many days there are in general. Most of these classes are 2 days long. Some of them are not. There's a few that I know aren't, and I'll point those out as I go along. Some may be different today from when I learned it, or maybe I just didn't know. Anyway, point is, I'll walk you through all that. How do you figure out which of these 13 courses should you take? So if we go to my second slide here, there are two courses that are sort of cross-role, okay? The first one is called Leading SAFe, and honestly, this is the intro course. If you are willing to take two courses, you should take Leading SAFe and then take one that aligns with your role. If you only want to take one course, then you might take your role-specific course, and you'll have some gaps, and maybe that's okay. You'll still get huge value. And if none of the roles match, then this is the course to go for. So in it, it's meant for any role. It is the intro course. It covers the 7 core competencies. I have another video, actually it's the intro to SAFe video talks about the core competencies, but it actually talks about the 3 dimensions for each of them, and it focuses on 4 of the 7. In addition to House of Lean and all that stuff. So let me go to the big picture because it'll be a lot easier to understand from here. So once again, I'm at the big picture. I'm scrolling so you can see the full picture here. So Leading SAFe. It's going to focus, again, on my video, you'll notice that there are these 7 competencies. These are the blue circles. They are strategies or merit badges that your organization can achieve. So first, it's going to focus on Lean Agile leadership, and it's going to cover the core values, the Lean Agile mindset, and SAFe principles. By the way, read this stuff before you go to class if you can. You don't have to, but you'll get a lot more out because you can actually say, hey, on the core values, or hey, in the SAFe principles, I was confused by X, Y, Z, and you can go deeper on that with your instructor. Okay. So, and they also assume you've read these articles for the exams that they give you. If you just take training, you're going to struggle with the tests. If you take the training and read the articles, now you got yourself in a good position to get a high score on those exams. Okay, so first they're going to cover Lean Agile leadership, and then they're going to talk about team and technical agility, Agile product delivery, and Lean portfolio management. So it's these 4 that they focus on. Why? Because those are the 4 that most early adopters of SAFe need to understand the best. The other ones, organizational agility, enterprise solution delivery, and continuous learning culture, are less likely to be needed coming out of the gate. And other courses will address that kind of thinking. So, so there you have it. That's what the Leading SAFe class teaches. When you're done, you'll have a good grasp of the fundamentals down here. They'll even talk a bit about the implementation roadmap, and you'll have a good grasp of the most fundamental merit badges or competencies. Now, by the way, they also, while they don't go deep on all 7, on this page here, I clicked on overview. You can see that we have the 7 core competencies, again, this time in a circle around the customer because it's all about customer centricity. And you can see that Lean Agile leadership right here, team and technical agility right here, Agile product delivery right here, and Lean portfolio management. These are the 4 the course covers. These 3 here are not deeply covered, but they do talk about the fact that each one has 3 dimensions, and they give you some understanding of what those 3 dimensions are. So you still get an overview of all of it, and you get a deep dive on 4 of them. Okay, so that's how they've architected that course. Let me go back to the big picture. And let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so that's Leading SAFe. Now, the second training class that is kind of not role specific is the DevOps training class. So if you look here, it's the one with the weirdest name, in my opinion. They say, let's see if I can find it here for you. Yeah, Safe DevOps training course. Like none of the other ones say training course, but there you go. So Safe DevOps training course. So the Safe DevOps training course, the intention here is that any role of the art could take this. Any role in your Agile release train could take this course, because the goal of it is, how do you optimize your value stream? How do you design a continuous delivery pipeline? It's geared for technical, non-technical, and leadership people, and anyone who is in the design, build, test, deploy, release, any of those roles, right, would be accelerated by the DevOps workshop. So coming back to the big picture, just because I like to ground things here, what you're really trying to learn about is these blue bars behind the train, right? The train, that's the people, right? That's the big team of people. The gray bar is all the steps it takes to deliver value. And that includes continuous exploration work, continuous integration work, continuous deployment work, releasing on demand. This is not a waterfall. All of these things are happening at any time, right? While you're doing deployment, you're also doing exploration. So no waterfall here. This continuous delivery pipeline, we need to optimize this. We need to figure out where our bottlenecks are. We need to be able to measure our pipeline. So you'll learn all kinds of techniques for that. You'll also explore the DevOps circle down here. So between these two things, a lot of value that you can get from the DevOps training class. Okay. So that's it for the cross role. Honestly, leading safe, that's the entry level, in my opinion. The DevOps one is a little more advanced. It's something that as your art, maybe in PI2, I'm sorry, and yeah, PI2 or PI3, quarter 2, quarter 3, whatever you want to call it, you might start looking at, maybe we should take this on as an art improvement. So during your inspect and adapt, maybe you do the DevOps training and then spend a day coming up with solutions for your actual art. What a cool thing that would be for your IP or innovation and planning sprint, which is the final sprint. Every 5th sprint is an innovation planning sprint. You're supposed to do stuff to improve. Well, that could be one thing you might do. Okay, so then we get to the actual role specific courses. So if you're doing your math, we covered 2 here. There was 13 total, so that means there's 11 classes left. And they really focus around 6 different roles, as you can see here. One, we have 3 courses that are addressed to servant leadership, 2 courses that are addressed to product owner, product manager types, 1 course for lean portfolio managers, 3 for technical teams. There's a specialized government course, and there's one here for coaches and trainers. Okay, if you want, and that's the one I have, by the way, because I'm a coach, I'm a trainer. That's the certificate I pursued. Okay, so that's the overview. If that's all you were looking for, you can take a screenshot of this and stop the video. The rest of this video, I'm going to go a little deeper behind each of these courses. You can fast forward to the one you're interested in if you want, but in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of tell you about these courses. You'll notice that 4 of them are in red here, right? These 4 that are red, if you go back to the big picture, if you look on the left-hand side here, these are the roles. Down here are the roles of an Agile team, product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. You might be very familiar with these roles if you've done any kind of Agile, product owner, Scrum Master, team. Above here, this is for the entire set of teams. This is for the team of teams. This is for the entire train. But they have the same 3 roles, and they're even in the same 3 positions. Instead of a Scrum Master, you have a release train engineer. This person is a servant leader to the team. This person is a servant leader to the entire train and the Scrum Masters on that train. Product owner, they are the content authority for a team. Product management, they're the content authority for the entire train. Okay, so they're the content authority across many teams. And instead of a technical team here or an implementation team, you have a system architect, system engineer. Okay, so they call these 3 roles here the art trio, because there's the art, and by they I mean me. They have the art here. So this trio together, they own the success of that art. That DevOps training class that you saw, these 3, they own that. Like if we ever have a DevOps training class, if we start to improve the steps it takes, it's because these 3 are finally embracing that part of relentless improvement. Okay, so since there's 3 really critical roles to SAFe for these art roles here, they actually have 4 classes, 1 for the RTE, 1 for the architect, and 2 for the product manager. Okay, so there's actually 4 classes dedicated to these 3 roles here. Okay, hopefully that clears some things up. So let's take them down. So first off, there are 3 servant leadership courses. The first one is Safe Scrum Master. This one will teach you about the team and program events, but it also focuses on coaching skills and relentless improvement. I really enjoy this class because teaching this class is a lot of fun, because you get into good conversations about how do you push through resistance, how do you deal with conflict, right? That sort of thing. So I really enjoy that part of the class. If you don't have a bag of tricks on how to deal with conflicts and friction in teams, your job as a Scrum Master is to build a high performing team. So if you're not doing that, then you've got some learning to do. So if we come in here, I just wanted to show you down here, it says PI, right? So this stands for program increment, and there's a cool diagram right here. So this will show you these dots are what the Scrum Master course is going to focus on. SSM, they're going to focus on how to execute these 5 items down here. And if you've ever done safe, if you've ever done Agile, Scrum especially, these should be very familiar. They use the word iteration instead of sprint, but they're synonyms, so you can mentally replace it if that's your preference. So notice the 5 standard things: iteration planning, daily stand-up, iteration review, backlog refinement, and iteration retro. They're going to go deep on those and how to facilitate those as a Scrum Master. They are also going to touch on this orange ring out here. These are the art level events. These are the events that an art goes through. And notice they're just a fractal or an image, just like we have a fractal here, these 3 for a team, we have these 3 for the whole art across teams, right? It's a fractal. In other words, it's getting more and more, it's getting bigger, but it's the same kind of idea. Well, same thing can be said here. Instead of iteration planning, the art has a PI planning across all teams, across team planning. Instead of a daily stand-up for the one team, they have a Scrum of Scrums and a PO sync for across all the teams, right? So you can see here, there's the RTE with their Scrum Masters, there's a product owner with product manager with all the product owners, right? So they sync up to try to keep the train moving. Instead of an iteration review, and by the way, when I say instead of, you're still doing these 5 things, but in addition, you're doing these outer rings on another cadence. So it's similar to an iteration review, you're doing a system demo. This is a review for a single team. This is a demo across teams. Backlog refinement for a single team, preparing for PI planning for all teams, right? And finally, iteration retro for a single team. You have an inspect and adapt for the entire train across an entire quarter or PI. Okay, and these are the lines here designate the start and end point. So it starts here, ends here. Okay, so in the Scrum Master class, you're going to go deep on these 5 inner circle ones, and then you're going to go not as deep on these outer circle ones, but enough that you can do the job. Okay, so they definitely go into these and tell you as a Scrum Master what you might want to be thinking about. So that is Safe Scrum Master. There is also Safe Advanced Scrum Master. Here, they start really focusing on scalability. They get deeper into DevOps, more about how you manage cross teams. Program execution, when you see program execution, it's just this outer orange ring again, the art events. Relentless improvement. So in both cases, you're focused on relentless improvement, but just more techniques for that. And really, it's all about taking a systems view. There are too many architects. There's too many Scrum Masters who only care about their team. They don't care about the product. They don't care about all the other teams. They're myopic, and that's fine. But as you grow your Scrum Master acumen, you might start to be better at understanding the whole, taking that system view. So that's what you're going to cover in SASM. And then we have RTE. Oh, by the way, another thing about SASM, this course was kind of designed for people who already had a separate certificate as a Scrum Master. So if you already had a Scrum Master certification that wasn't a safe one, you could conceivably just jump into SASM and go from there. I do really love the coaching skills part of SSM. So, up to you what you want to do there. But this was designed for people who already kind of had the Scrum Master certificate and wanted to take safe Scrum Master training without the fundamentals. Okay. Finally, there's the RTE class. So again, a servant leader, but now for the entire the entire train, all the teams together, they're the servant leader to everybody, and especially to the Scrum Masters. In this picture, you can see there's the RTE being a servant leader to his or her team of Scrum Masters, right? So in here, you're now moving away from participating in these, in fact, into leading these art level events. Art level events, the orange events. So they're going to focus a lot on that. Enterprise-wide relentless improvement. Scrum Masters, RTEs, servant leaders, your job is relentless improvement. Protect the teams and improve relentlessly. Those are the things you're looking for. So one of the interesting things, this is one of the few classes that's more than 2 days. This one's 3 days. And also it's kind of geared for people who have already been an RTE for a PI or 2. And then you go and you take your skills to the next level, get the fundamental experience, then take the training class. All the rest of these take the training and then start doing it. This one's kind of the other way around. But of course you can take it before you've done it. One really fun thing is when you offer this on site and all the RTEs take it together, because you form a network across RTEs, which can be very powerful for the organization. And that's it for the servant leaders. Next, we're going to move into the product owner, product managers. Okay. I'm highlighting these, so if you're fast forwarding the video, hopefully you can see the highlight. I don't know. Anyway, so product owner, product manager. So again, back to the big picture. You can see here, there's a product owner, product manager, right? They are the content authority for their team, the content authority for a team, the content authority for an art. And you can see here that they have a PO sync. So here's the deal about product owners and product managers. SAFe, in order to scale to very large teams, decided to split the product owner role, traditional to Scrum, into two roles: product owner, product manager. Okay. The product owner and product managers, they have the same job. What changes is their level of skill and availability. So to be a good product owner or product manager, you need to have three things. You need to have availability to do the job. You need to have authority to make decisions, and you need to have knowledge of the product itself. Those are the three things we kind of would like our product owner, product managers to have. What in fact, like if they use the product themselves, that's even better. But those are the three things. Well, what SAFe has recognized is that the person who has knowledge and authority rarely has enough availability to help all those teams. There's a lot of teams, they all have questions, and the person who would normally play the product owner role, they don't have enough availability. They have the knowledge, they have the authority, they just can't get to all the teams, right? So there's something called the proxy pattern. Proxy pattern is when you like create a proxy, a fake version of the real, and have multiple proxies, one real, so that you can decentralize, so that you can balance out a rare skill. Okay, so what happens now is SAFe has a product manager who has authority and knowledge, and then every team gets a product owner who has availability, right? They have the time to do the job, but they have less authority and less knowledge. It's okay, they do their best. So in this art sync here, in the PO sync here, this is when they all get together and they say, here are all the questions I tried to answer. Here's what I didn't know what to do about. Here's what I decided on this, and they all learn and grow together. There's something else that happens in the PO sync as well. They are focusing on two major things. Number one, over here in the Scrum of Scrums, they're worrying about features of the current PI, or how are they doing, impediments, like they're just getting the features done and they're making sure it happens. We don't care about that in the PO sync. In the PO sync, we worry about PI objectives. They're kind of like sprint objectives, but for an entire PI. And so in the PO sync, we're always asking, how are we doing on our objectives? Are we going to achieve those objectives? Are there threats to the objectives? That's the first thing. The second thing is we do look forward. This is the one place we look ahead. Remember the continuous exploration that you saw here, right? Well, this is part of that continuous exploration, is looking forward. So one, what is the roadmap for the product or products for the next 3 PIs? And for the next PI coming up, have we started to decompose those and understand those so that we'll be prepared for PI planning, right? So it's all about future looking features or current looking objectives, whereas these guys over here, they're looking at current PI features and the execution of those. Okay, so they're more about execution, and these people are more about achieving the objectives and looking to the future. So if we go back to the training, then there are 2 classes here, POPM and APM. So POPM is product owner, product manager. It's a course that gives you what it takes to be in those roles. They cover things like how to write epics, capabilities, features, stories, right? They get into that kind of stuff, customer centricity a little bit, design thinking a little bit. If you think about it, this course is 80% focused on product owners, 20% focused on product management. So people in either role can take it, but it's going to be more focused on what a product owner does versus what a product manager does. Now, the second course is the flip of that. And this is Agile product management. I just want to make sure I got that name right. I'm going to go over here. Yep, Agile product management. There it is. So again, remember, I'm just going through the list here. So Agile product management, in here, they're going to talk to you about vision, strategy, roadmaps, design thinking, customer centricity, right? These things. Now, they're touched on in POPM. They go deeper in APM. So if you're a product manager, this course is 80% product management, 20% product ownership. So that's kind of a nice way to kind of think about these 2 roles. Okay. And again, remember, they're kind of the same thing. The difference is one doesn't have enough availability. The other one doesn't have enough knowledge and authority, right? So they have to work together in a proxy pattern to decentralize and accelerate product ownership across the arts. Okay, so next we have, I'm going to skip over LPM just for a second. I'm going to go over here to the technical team because notice we've covered the RTE, we've covered the POPMs. I'd like to round it out with the third role in that art trio, which is part of the technical team. So we have a technical team, and there are 3 training courses for the technical team. The first one is SAFe for Teams. And ideally, SAFe would like you to take this the 2 days before today's class, the 2 days before your first PI planning. So so PI planning is a 2-day event when it's face-to-face, 3 days if you have time zones. The idea would be if it's a 2-day PI planning, you would have safer teams right before it. They call that, I think, the quick start. It's intense. That's 4 very intense days, and you need a little vacation right after. But the 2 days of training followed by the 2 days of actual PI planning is a beautiful pattern. In here, we're basically focused on the team. How do they decompose features into stories? You're like, wait a minute, I thought the product manager and product owner would do that. No, the teams are the ones who do that, and the product owner is a team member, so they are part of it. But they have to do it together in order to get that collective ownership and understanding. We write way less requirements down in an Agile team, but you have to be a part of the decomposition in order for that to work. So how do you decompose for your stories and estimate them, all that kind of stuff, right? All the team level skills you need to be a good team. You also talk about relentless improvement, your plan execution. You plan your iterations and make sure that you can get through them, right? And then some art level of stuff that comes in here as well. How to become a member of a train, right? It's different than being a member of a team. There's more to it. So that's what Safe for Teams is. It's a quick start to get everybody ready to be a team member. This is the intro class for a team member. Next up is Agile Software Engineering. And again, I just want to make sure I got that right. Yep, Agile Software Engineering. So this one here is one of the unusual 3-day courses. And in it, they get into the technical side of Agile skills. So we have built-in quality, business-driven development, test-driven development, other XP practices, and putting quality throughout your continuous delivery pipeline. So let me go back to the big picture so you understand what the heck I'm talking about. So first off, down here, there's built-in quality. This is all about how to build in quality as you go as a team. The training is going to show you a lot of interesting things. BDD and TDD, business-driven development, test-driven development, they're inside of this circle here, okay, because that's what they're for. So that's this part of it. And then we talked already about the gray chevrons being the value stream. Well, we need quality to be involved in all of these. And oftentimes quality is only involved at the end. So they're going to show you how quality plays across this whole thing. So that's the kind of stuff you'll learn in ASE. It's a more technical side of Agile. Finally, we have the architect class, and it's the last of the trio, right? So we've talked about the RTE training and the POPM training. Now we're getting into the architect training. Now this architect training actually goes here and also solution architect and also enterprise architect. So you can see that they're, again, fractal, right? More complex. We have system, solution, and enterprise. All 3 of these kinds of architects are covered in the architect course. Now, let me be clear. This course does not teach you how to be an architect. It assumes you already know how. This course is for architects. It's not how to be an architect. So that's a big, important thing to know before walking in the door to be disappointed. So what does the course teach? How to be an architect in an Agile world and how to be an architect in a scaled Agile world like SAFe, right? Also, when you look at architects at the clients I have, they have systems architects, but they have data architects, security architects, UI architects, right? There's all kinds of different flavors of architects. And notice that in SAFe, they only have 3 flavors, and that's the ones that you just saw here: system architect, solution architect, enterprise architect. Those are the only kinds of architects we have. How does that jive in this world where people have so many specialized types of architects? That's one of the things that they'll demystify for you. And I found it very exciting. The mindset, Agile, it's really how do you become an architect and be Agile? Architects used to want everything up front. You don't get that in Agile. So how can you be a successful architect if you don't get that big design up front stuff? How to align with business value, how to assure continuous flow, how to build your architecture runway. So down here, you can see this red line. This is called the architecture runway. The teams build it, but the architects kind of own it in a way. So this shows you how to participate in the architecture runway and how to engage teams to build it. And finally, setting the architecture vision during PI planning, which happens every 5th sprint, right? During PI planning, we set the vision for the whole quarter. Well, architects have an architectural vision they need to set as well. We talked about that there. So that's it for the technical team. So the technical team is complete. Now we can go into LPM. So lean portfolio management really only covers one competency, and it's this one right here, LPM, okay? If we go back to the overview, you can see that there are 3 dimensions again, 1, 2, 3. You can see them on the corners here. All the rest separate the dimensions, but this predated the idea of dimensions, and it was just one cute picture that really is effective. So they kept the diagram, and they said the 3 dimensions are here, here, and here, right? So it's the only one that's not separated. Anyway, so in here, you're going to learn about strategy and investment funding, right? In other words, how do you know what to spend money on in order to achieve corporate goals, right? So strategy and investment funding here. Agile portfolio operations, you're going to learn how to operate the portfolio and to look for risk and to, because here you're investing money. Well, here is that money well invested. And then finally, lean governance, that's your visibility into whether or not the decisions that are being made are good decisions. And yet we want to decentralize. People who say safe is not agile, it annoys me because then you're not, because it definitely is. And here's one of my favorite places to point that out. Safe wants you to decentralize your portfolio to the arts so that the arts can decide for themselves how to spend money. That is terrifying to a command and control waterfall type organization. But in here, we'll teach you how to make that safe and how that's going to accelerate your ability to pivot when change comes, to make better investment strategy, funding strategies, et cetera. So I love this whole part of SAFE. This is one of my passion areas. In the LPM class, you're going to learn about that kind of stuff. 2 to go. We're almost done. And these 2 are quick. Well, one of them is quick. Government. So if you happen to be doing SAFE in a government environment, there are different rules in a government environment than there are in a commercial environment. So they created a course called SAFE for Government, and that is a course you take if you are in that situation. Otherwise, this is not a course that you probably would need. I don't know where it is. SAFE for Government right there. Okay. So if you're working for the government, this has a nice slant towards your reality. Okay. Last course of the 13. Is for coaches and trainers. Is the course I took. It's called Implementing SAFE, and it is a whopping 4 days long. The first 2 days, however, is just leading SAFE, right? So where am I leading SAFE? Oh yeah, on the previous page. Leading SAFE, remember this guy? This is the fundamental training for everybody that everybody should be taking. Well, guess what? These coaches and trainers have to teach that class. So for the first 2 days, you're going to watch an SPCT, which is an SPC trainer. You're going to watch them deliver that class for 2 days. So you're going to see one of the best delivering that training. And really, you're going to learn a ton about style, technique, but also that you're going to ask questions about how to teach something. You're not there to learn the topic that you should have down already if you're going to be an SPC. Here, you're learning how to teach that class because it's the premier course you would have to learn how to teach. By the way, what's awesome about the SPC is you're allowed to teach almost every class that you see on here. There's certain exceptions that always confuse me what the exceptions are. I believe RT used to be an exception. I don't know if it still is. SPC itself, the SPC class, it's called Implementing SAFE, by the way, this course. So I'll show you that here. It's maybe near the top, I'm thinking. Yeah, second one. Implementing SAFE is the name of the course. The certificate it grants is SPC. So, oh yeah, I have it written right there. Look at me. So in this course for 2 days, you're going to learn how to teach leading SAFE. The cool thing is you could then teach almost every other course in here. So if you really want to explore all of SAFE training, get this SPC, and then you can take the tests for every one of these, and you don't have to pay anything for it, right? You can take the tests. You don't get the certificate unless you take the class, but you can take the tests. You can see the materials, you can learn about the materials, and you can teach it to others. So really, really cool package here. The big focus of this class, the second 2 days, is the implementation roadmap. And by the way, it usually shakes out to like 2.5 days of leading SAFE and a day and a half of implementing because there's so many questions about how to teach it. So it goes a little bit over. At least that's been my experience. So if we come back to here and we go back to the full SAFE, down here on the bottom, we talked about leading SAFE, teaching these things down here, the Lean Agile leadership plus 3 others over there. But we talked about these 3 things here. You got to be a master of those to be a Lean Agile leader. Well, the SPC class, you can see there's the SPC there. You can learn about them, the coach and trainer. They teach you about this thing called the implementation roadmap. So this thing is beautiful. It looks like a racetrack. So it's the racetrack diagram, but it literally gives you the steps you should go through in order to bring an organization from waterfall to a SAFE embracing business agility culture kind of company, right? So these are the steps it takes to do it. Along the line here, you can see all the different training classes that you'll have to offer and when to do them. Notice RTE is way out here. Remember I told you they prefer to have RTEs take the class after they have a PI or 2 under their belt. That's why it's way out here, okay? And notice advanced Scrum Masters out here as well, like maybe after a PI or 2, you want to take that next level of training, et cetera. So the implementation roadmap, that's what you're going to get trained on, so that you can, with confidence and authority, lead your organization through the steps it takes to make that transformation. Very difficult job. Great tool to help you get there. So there it is, folks. That is my ultimate guide to SAFE training. I don't know if it's an ultimate guide until you guys let me know, but I hope you find this useful and share it with your friends. Anybody who's trying to figure out what kind of SAFE training they should take. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Anthony Crane. I love enabling people in agile skills of any kind, safe and otherwise. So hopefully you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if you do, because I read every one of them, reply to I think almost all of them. So thank you. Stop my share and stop the recording.